Your cat is already at the door before you touch the handle. You did not make a sound, you did not say a word. You were sitting on the couch and now you are standing, and somehow she already knows. She is sitting 6 inches from the door, tail wrapped around her paws, watching the handle. You assume it is love. You assume she is waiting for you. She is not waiting for you. Not exactly. And that distinction is one of the most misunderstood things about how your cat actually processes the world around her. In 2019, researchers at Edvas Lorand University in Budapest conducted a series of observations on domestic cats in their home environments. They tracked behavior around departure and arrival events across 41 cat owner pairs. What they found was not about affection, it was about information. Cats were not responding to the owner, they were responding to the sequence, the body shifting, the weight transferring, the specific pattern of sounds that reliably preceded the door opening. The cat at the door is not greeting you, she is completing a prediction, and she started building that prediction weeks ago. That is the difference. One is emotion, the other is architecture. Your cat has been studying the acoustic signature of your home since she first arrived. A 2017 study from the University of Tokyo confirmed that domestic cats distinguish their owner's voice from a stranger's with high accuracy. But it goes further than voice. Cats track whole behavioral sequences as single units. Not the jingling keys as a standalone event, but the jingling keys following the specific creak of the second floorboard, following the sound of the chair pushing back. The whole chain registers as one thing, one reliable prediction of what comes next. She is not at the door because she loves you, she is at the door because she is very, very good at what comes next. This is where most cat owners get it backwards. The popular explanation is attachment. She misses you, she wants to be with you, and there is real research on cat attachment, including a 2019 study from Oregon State University that confirmed cats do form secure attachment bonds with their owners in the same classification system used for human infants. That is real. That is not the dispute here. The dispute is the door specifically, because attachment does not explain why she is there before you move. Attachment would bring her to you, on the couch, on the bed, in the room where you are sitting. Attachment is about proximity to the person, but the door behavior starts before you are even heading toward the door, sometimes minutes before, and that precision is not emotional, that is predictive. Researchers at the University of Lincoln ran a study in 2015 tracking behavioral markers in cats before owner departure. They found that cats began displaying pre-departure orientation, specifically positioning themselves near exit points, an average of 4 to 7 minutes before the owner physically reached the door. 4 to 7 minutes. The owner had not yet stood up. The cat had already moved. The cue that triggered the reorientation was not a single action, it was the collapse of a routine, the moment the owner's behavioral pattern diverged from a resting sequence. That divergence, invisible to us, registered instantly in the cat. She does not know you are leaving because she can read your mind. She knows because you told her. You just did not know you were talking. Now, here is where it becomes more complicated and more important. There is a version of this door-waiting behavior that is healthy. It's your cat's sensory system doing exactly what it evolved to do, building models of the environment, tracking change, predicting outcomes. A cat that waits by the door and then walks away calmly when you leave is running a functional prediction system. She knows what the door opening means, she knows what follows. The uncertainty is low, the system is stable. Then there's the other version. In 2020, researchers at the Federal University of Pará in Brazil published findings on separation-related behaviors in domestic cats. This was a study of 223 cats. What they found was that a significant subset, approximately 13%, showed signs of distress specifically correlated to departure cues rather than to the departure itself. The door, the keys, the coat, the bag, those cues alone produced the physiological activation. The actual absence of the owner was secondary. 13%. That is not a rare edge case. In a country with 50 million pet cats, that's millions of animals responding to the sight of a coat hook with something closer to dread than curiosity. And owners don't see it, because by the time the distress peaks, you're already gone. The behavioral signatures are specific: excessive grooming that starts within 2 minutes of departure, vocalizations that begin before the elevator reaches the ground floor, elimination outside the litter box only on days when the owner left in a disrupted pattern. These are not random. They are a nervous system filing incident reports that no one is reading. If you're finding this useful, a subscribe keeps this research coming. It helps more than you might think. The reason owners miss it connects directly to one of the most important revisions in animal behavior research. In the 1960s, John Paul Scott and John Fuller at the Jackson Laboratory in Bar Harbor, Maine, spent 13 years studying the development of social behavior in dogs and cats. Their foundational work established that early experience shapes adult behavior far more than adult training or intervention. But the revision came from their own data, reanalyzed in 2013 by researchers at the Anthrozoology Institute at the University of Exeter. What the reanalysis showed was that Scott and Fuller had underestimated the role of ongoing environmental input. Early experience sets a baseline, but daily micro-experiences keep updating it. Your cat's response to the door today is not fixed from kittenhood. It is being recalibrated constantly by what happens every single time that door opens and closes. This matters because it means the door response is not a personality trait. It is a living data set, and you are adding to it every day. Here is where the popular advice completely fails. The standard recommendation for years has been to make your departures low-key, to ignore your cat before you leave, to give no goodbye ritual at all. The logic is that attention before departure raises arousal and makes the contrast of absence sharper. Researchers at the University of Veterinary Medicine in Vienna reviewed this advice formally in 2018. What they found was that for cats specifically, the no goodbye approach had almost no measurable effect on post-departure behavior. For some cats, it made things worse. The lack of a predictable pre-departure signal meant the departure itself became the unpredictable event. The nervous system had no anchor, no warning. The door just opened, and then everything was different. The problem was never the goodbye. The problem was inconsistency. A cat that receives a consistent pre-departure ritual, the same brief interaction, the same sequence, the same body language from the owner, the same pause at the door, builds that ritual into the model. The ritual becomes part of the prediction. It becomes the signal that says this departure is the same as the last one. Same departure means same return, and same return means the uncertainty resolves. Not saying goodbye does not reduce your cat's distress. It removes the one data point she had been using to stay calm. Here is the invisible part, the part that most people do not consider because you cannot see it happening. Your state when you approach the door is being read, not your words, your state. A 2021 study published in Scientific Reports found that cats adjust their own behavioral and physiological arousal in response to their owner's emotional expression, specifically the owner's facial and postural signals. Owners who left in a rushed, agitated state had cats that showed significantly longer post-departure restlessness. Owners who left calmly had cats that settled faster. Your cortisol is contagious. When you are running late, grabbing your bag too fast, skipping the usual routine because you are already behind, your cat does not read that as a scheduling problem. She reads it as a signal that the environment has become unpredictable, and an unpredictable environment is the one condition a cat's nervous system finds genuinely difficult to regulate. You did not know. You were just trying to get out the door, but she was standing there reading every second of it. The cats that wait calmly by the door and return to their routine within minutes of your departure are not more independent or less attached. They are cats whose prediction system has been given consistent, legible data. The departure follows a reliable pattern. The pattern includes the owner being calm. Calm departure means low environmental threat. Low threat means the system can stand down. The cats that vocalize, scratch, or pace after the door closes are not separation anxious in the clinical sense most of the time. they are running an incomplete model. Something in the departure cue sequence has been inconsistent, or the owner's state at the door has been unpredictable. The system cannot resolve the pattern, so it keeps running. That is what you see when you come home to knocked over objects and a cat that is either desperately loud or conspicuously absent. Not bad behavior, a nervous system that spent the afternoon trying to complete a calculation it didn't have enough data to finish. The door is not where your cat waits for you. The door is where she reads you. Every time. In the 4 minutes before you touch the handle, in the shape of your posture, in the pace of your breathing, in whether the pattern today matches the pattern she has filed under safe. She is not waiting for someone to love her. She is waiting to find out what kind of day it's going to be, and she decides that before you leave.